Hi there. My name is John Stevens, pastor of Zion Lutheran Church in Oregon City, Oregon, and we are part of the ELCA, and welcome to Dollar Store Children's Sermons, where I take a look at the lectionary text and I tie them to an item from the Dollar Tree or the junk drawer or the kids' room or the garage. You know how we've been doing it. Thank you so much for your partnership in this ministry. Thank you for the love that you're sharing with your families and your kids and your congregations. You're rocking it. Thank you. Thank you so much. You are rocking it. Sometimes we get the folks we serve and the congregations we're in forget to tell us that, so let me tell you that. All right, two other things. One is a word of thanks and gratitude. The last Dollar Store Children's Sermons that I videoed mentioned about Sunny, our puppy, or I say puppy, 112 years old in doggy years. A good long life, but still, when we had to make the decision to help him cross the Rainbow Bridge, he was in quite a bit of pain. And that, and I've shared that, and the outpouring of love and people reaching out saying, "Hey, as one who know that you kept me in your prayers," and it was an outpouring. So thank you so much for that. I so much appreciated it as the words, trying to figure out the words. So there's that. So that's the first thing. The second is, it's not Advent yet, but I have put out an Advent Devotional for this Advent called Grace in the Manger. It's available on Amazon. I'm going to put a link in the blog and also on the YouTube video. It's available on Kindle and paperback print, like this one, and I'm proud of it. So yeah, I'm sharing that with you. If you want, pick up a copy. I appreciate it, and I think you'll find it helpful. So, all right, we're moving on, and this is the 14th. Let me look here. 14th Sunday after Pentecost. Or, as I like to refer in my congregation, I'm getting tired of green. So this is where I pull out the multicolor stoles and all of that. So, because we've been in Sundays after Pentecost for 14. Yeah, that's a lot of Sundays. All right, but we are looking at, we're on that pendulum where last week it was Peter saying, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." And then when Jesus starts talking about what has to take place, the Son of Man must suffer, the Messiah must be killed, and Peter's like, "Whoa, I didn't know. That's not what we agreed upon." And so there's that, the pendulum, and we have that, "Get behind me, Satan." Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. So a couple of springboards for today. Some that are based on stuff from a couple of years ago. I was going to say last year, but it wasn't last year. A couple of years ago, and then another idea that's been working around in my head. If you haven't listened, to the podcast By the Well, it's a lectionary-based podcast out of Australia, and I find it very helpful. They have some great conversation around that phrase, "Get behind me, Satan," and a way of unpacking it. Get behind me, that the Greek is more in that sense of the disciple following. Get into your proper place of following me. So get behind me, follow me. And then the Satan, we have all of this theology and all of this years after years after years of this theology about Satan, about the devil, about this character. But when we're looking at the Satan, we're looking at that's the tempter. So in the sense where Jesus, this is stuff they're talking about in By the Well, but that it kind of going back to the temptation in the desert and all of that happening, and it's like this is a temptation for Jesus, that you're saying, "No, you don't need to do this." Well, maybe I don't need to, So follow me, get back in your place, and do not tempt me with this. This is the direction that I need to go. There's more to unpack there, and it's not necessarily with the children's sermon, but I found that helpful because that's a problematic verse for a lot of folks, because it's the stark contrast. So, all right, let's get into the springboards. The first one, looking at a little bit of the second reading, and this idea about loving your enemies, about the pulling close, and there's a lot of language in there that made me think of a rubber band. And this is one of the ones I used in the years past. So we got the rubber band stretched, right? We got the rubber band stretched. There's a lot of tension, and this can actually remind me of like when there's an argument, or let's say brother or sister fighting, or maybe your best friends are fighting, and there's that tension. And what you want to do, and what you feel like in your gut, is you want to move away. You want to move away. You want to, and that what happens there? That was not on purpose. And you could use that because that stung a little bit. So, and that's the thing. It's like when we're like out like this and something breaks, a relationship breaks, or it snaps back on us and hurts. But we're told that if actually we draw close to one another, when we draw close to one another and we're close, that tension disappears. Because now we're close to one another, and we can talk with one another, and we can experience and share love with one another, and that tension is no longer. So that's one of the springboards, using the rubber band and the idea of tension. For those in church systems, we have the triangle, and we always know how well triangles work in a church system or a family system. Anyway, so we've got that. So that's the first springboard. The second one is a party favor. And when I've done this before, I've used, at the Dollar Tree, I've gotten the pretend coins. I don't know, pirate coins, or, but I get enough pirate, because I just mentioned pirate. I get enough party favors that I can hand them out to everybody. And it's to treat everyone as special, to treat everyone as Jesus. I see them, and it's like when they walk in, hey, how you doing? Hey, Jesus, hey, come on in. Yeah, hey, Jesus, come on over here. Have a seat. Hey, Jesus, come on over here. Yeah, there we are. And, just treating everyone as if they were Jesus, because they are. We are the body of Christ, and we are made up of the body of individual members as we're the body. That was last week's, and this week Paul continues that idea of living with one another. So that's that party favors, treating everybody as if they were Jesus, because that really, I tell you, that is a very helpful and useful thing. So there we are. There's that. So that's the third. The second one. Bing, bing, follow the bouncing ball. Welcome to my Monday morning as I'm recording this. So we've got the rubber band, we've got party favors, treating everyone as Jesus. And you don't even really need party favors. You could do name tags. On every name tag, put Jesus. Hello, my name is Jesus. Hello, I'm Jesus. And so hand those out. Here you go, put this on so we can know who you are. Jesus, 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 Jesus. So there we are. Name tags in the same vein as that of treating everyone as Jesus. Now, the next one is, I am looking at pairing last week's gospel with this week's gospel. The idea, kind of the pendulum, where we started here where Peter said, you are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. Yeah, God forbid, this cannot happen to you. That pendulum that goes back and forth. So I'm thinking about things that can be used in two different ways. I was thinking the possibility, I'm looking here to see here. I'm thinking of a bag of sugar, because what I was thinking, I was like, we've got the bag of sugar, and if I've got, let's say I'm making a recipe, and I pour in a little bit of the sugar, and cue Def Leppard right now, but anyway, you pour some sugar in there, and then that's the little bit. It's like, oh, that's really good. That's, I like sugar. That's pretty good. And then you start pouring more sugar in. And more sugar. You want to pour it into a bowl because that way you can put it back into the container or whatever. But as you're pouring the sugar, and then it's like, oh, that's good. And then you continue to pour. And then you continue to pour. And then you continue to pour. And you pour all the 5 pounds or 4 pounds, whichever bag you buy now. And the sugar goes out. And that idea that when Peter first starts hearing this, yes, this sounds good. And then when he starts to figure out what it's going to mean, it becomes overwhelming. And there's the sugar at the beginning, and that little bit, it's like, oh, that's good. But it can, whoa, hold on, wait, no, that's too much. No, hold back. So that idea. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, that pendulum. There's the pendulum. And the other thing I'm playing around with is the idea of the saint and sinner. idea of how one thing can have two uses or two purposes. But I'm playing with that. But I realize as I was driving in today and listening to the podcast and that, where for Peter to say this to Jesus, it doesn't put Peter in that sinner aspect. I think it's just absolutely human, because he is responding to what he knows and what he's been taught about the Messiah from a knee-high to a grasshopper. As Walter Brueggemann would say, Peter had a great Jewish mother. And we see that in Acts when Peter's like, I'm not going to eat that food, that's unclean. And he's been taught all these things and taught well. And then here he knows what the Messiah is supposed to do. And Jesus is telling him that something that doesn't measure up. Maybe using you got one of those shape balls, the little kids where you're putting the round peg into the round hole in the square thing, and then all of a sudden, so here is Jesus, this round peg, and trying to fit it into the star hole. That doesn't fit there, because everything we've been told goes one way, but now the story starts to shift. Just stuff like that. Anyway, so that is that. I'm hoping this can be useful for your own children's sermon. I know I'm all over the board, and I appreciate you sticking with me to this point. Thank you. Thank you for spending a little bit of your time with me this week in this way, and blessings on your Sunday, because you know what? You're rocking it. Thanks. Peace. See you next week.